Chapter 5, Evolution and Cosmic Consciousness. I am indeed Brahman, without difference, without change, and of the nature of reality, knowledge, and bliss. Shankara from Direct Realization. Dr. Buke, in his discussion of cosmic consciousness, speaks of an evolution of that kind of consciousness, just as there is a development of self-consciousness. Hence, after the awakening to the former, while this act involves definite transcendence of self-consciousness in every case, yet there are degrees and levels within the field of cosmic consciousness. Consider this statement in connection with the above quotation from Sankara. Clearly, there can be no evolution where can be no difference or change. Yet Dr. Buke is right, provided we give to cosmic consciousness the interpretation given above. Shankara is speaking of that which is neither formed nor formless, and therefore that which transcends cosmic consciousness. But realization of the Brahman, partial or complete, is the basis of awakening to cosmic consciousness. The latter does not therefore transcend the relative in the strict sense of the word, though it does transcend consciousness grounded in the subject-object relationship. Thus, in cosmic consciousness, we are dealing with the intermediate world. In this domain, ignorance, avidya, has been destroyed. Yet the cosmos is a fundamental sense has not been annihilated. Thus, unfoldment or evolution remains possible. In this connection, it is interesting to note that the statement of a certain sage, who is speaking of unfolded consciousness above the level of the highest human adepts, said, "We attain glimpses of consciousness so transcendent, rising level upon level, that the senses fairly reel before the awe-inspiring grandeur." Here certainly is space for evolution far beyond the highest possibility of man as man. Chapter 6, Myself. What greater thing is there than this mystery that is myself? All things that I am able to comprehend, if not at this moment, then in time I can do so. And that is why I am able to give them names, and that which I have named is in thraldom to me. So all creatures serve me, from the most elemental up to the highest gods, but the self that I am has no name, for no word that points toward me comprehends me. Names mean forms, whether gross or subtle, but I am without form and therefore eternally nameless. I comprehend all, but am comprehended by none. I sustain all, yet need no support. All creatures are but revelations of me, for in me abides their very existence. Yet though they were not, I am. This space I produce, that my glory may be revealed. Yet I alone realize that revelation. Upon this space I cast my shadow in numberless variations, yet ever remain one apart. I am the theme of all melodies, and reveal portions of my endless richness in symphonic elaborations. I lead all scientists to me as they seek for the truth, which is none other than myself. The devotee seeks me through the raiment of my being, yet I abide in that devotee. He who does violence but seeks me in ignorance. I am the love of all lovers. I also am the lover and the beloved. Beside me there is none other. Note, in the foregoing, a new form of expression broke forth spontaneously. Heretofore, I have never written in a poetic form. In fact, I have been unusually lacking in poetic interest. I have only regarded expository writing seriously. At the time of beginning this composition, I had in mind another exposition, but in the midst of the writing, a new impulse in expression was born. The shift between the two forms is manifest in a comparison of the first and the latter parts. I have left the writing unaltered, so that it forms part of the record of this psychological transformation, as well as being a vehicle of meaning in its own right. Chapter 7, Jesus and the Way. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Thus spake Jesus. But many heard, though few understood, and so they sought the Father through belief in a man who dwelt for a short time upon this earth. But no man is I, since man is an object, while I am always the subject. Hence, to translate the above quotation as meaning, "No man coming unto the Father but by Jesus," is completely to change its meaning. The Father is divinity, God, Brahman, the ultimate transcendent reality. Now this reality is consciousness, wherein subject and object are no longer divided but together form a united sea of consciousness. The general tendency of mankind is to see God as an object, that is, God is worshipped as an object which stands as other than the worshipper. What Jesus meant is that success cannot be attained by this road. It is only through the I that the Father can be reached. While both the subjective and the objective factors are blended in absolute consciousness, yet the unitary quality is carried in the subjective moment. There is but one I or subject. Again, this is the most immediate and intimate of all the facts. Hence, only through the I is identity realized. Approached in any other way, God is ever something other than the seeker and therefore is at a distance. To come to the Father is to be one with the Father, and this can be achieved only through the pure subject or the self. With the more current interpretation of the above quotation, there is a distinct clash between the teaching of Jesus and that of the other leading spiritual lights of the world. But with the interpretation here offered neatly, if not quite, complete reconciliation is afforded, not alone with the teachings of the great founders of religion, but also with the spontaneous sayings of nearly all spiritually illumined souls. It fits perfectly with the I am that I am of the Old Testament. It is identical in meaning with the central doctrine of Buddhism and Brahmanism, where we find the clearest and most complete formulation of all. The Christ of St. Paul is a mystic Christ and not a distinct person. It is a level of consciousness of which Jesus Christ was the symbol for him. This level of consciousness is identical with that from which Jesus spoke. This agreement can further be noted by reading the works of number of God-realized men such as Jacob Boehm, Spinoza, Whitman, Hegel, Ramatirtha, and Inayat Khan. It is unnecessary to elaborate further here.